Hey everybody! So a lot of people seem to like this garden design that I posted earlier on Reddit. This is for the cooking update, and so I decided to do a little tutorial on it since a lot of people requested that. I think a lot of the confusion is just how to do the cosmetics part maybe, but anyway, hopefully this helps some people. I start out by finding the center, the relative center of the garden. I'm pretty sure that's it. I worked it out before this. So that's going to be the center, and I'm going to start by building the platform, the raised platform that people seem to like. I'm going to put down a bookcase or bookshelf. That's just the height of it. You can make it whatever height you want, which is just a good height. The whole thing with the platform, the idea, it's not just for looks, although I think it does look cool. It kind of gets you up off of the ground and allows you to see everything a little bit easier and to harvest, I think, a little bit easier. And if you have a bunch of big pets, sometimes it helps keep them out of your hair. So after I find the center and put down a bookshelf, I place a large flooring panel, or whatever you call it. I'll just call it a large panel. Right over the center. Basically what I'm going to do first is make a platform for the platform. It's kind of like scaffolding. I make a big 3x3 platform, and then I build, it makes the scaffold, or it makes the circular platform a lot easier to build because you don't have to mess with anything. It's just like building on the ground. And the cosmetics are really kind of finicky. If anyone's messed with them, you'll know what I mean. Lining things up, like things just don't line up. Even if you just do it real simple, things don't line up perfect, which can be annoying. But once you get past it, you can make it just look pretty good. And actually, I think that's probably good enough in most cases. So the thing is, though, if you can't just do a bookshelf on the side. You see how there's like a difference in the height? It's because the plot is just slightly higher than the green parts in between, which is a little annoying. So in order to make that whole platform the exact same height and make it level, all I do is a little trick here. You put a large platform underneath. And you got to make sure you bring it right to the edge, or else it's not going to come out far enough. So you bring it right to the edge like that, pick up another large platform, and you're going to place it right on the edge of that, just like you see. And you'll see there's a little gap in between those, and that's just the way it's going to be. It's either a gap or an overlap in this case, so I don't know which one's better, but I prefer the gap. So I do that here too, and it lines up nicely up and down, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, side to side, it's not, doesn't really line up. It drives me crazy every time I see it. Alright, and so I do 3 more on the other side, same strategy. Speed it up a little bit here. All right. So that is the platform for our platform. And I'm not going to be able to jump up there, so we've got to make a way to get up. Of course, a jump pad is the easiest and funnest way. And at this point, I'm going to mark the center of that platform and build the circular platform around it. And on the placement on this stuff, you can pause the video if you need to and watch what I'm doing. The placement is, I mean, it is what it is. Nothing really seems to line up, but at the end, it's a good product, good final product. You You start by putting these small platform pieces down around the center. There you go. And then we're going to put some more small platform pieces down. And these are going to overlap just a little bit. You'll see they overlap with the previous pieces. And that's what it has to do if you want this to line up right. Then we're going to use medium pieces. It's like the long skinny pieces. I'll just call them medium. And these all show up pretty regularly in the cosmetics merchant shop or whatever, so just keep your eye out if you want to do this and you don't have enough. And we're just putting them at the end with a little gap there. We don't overlap, just put it at the end, centered with those other small platform pieces. So we're left with like a big plus or cross or whatever it is. Now we put down some more medium pieces and pay close attention to the alignment, because when it comes to the pieces that aren't perpendicular, like when they're at weird angles, everything pivots in the center. So you really have to be, sometimes it's just trial and error. But I line it up with that existing medium piece, then move it down one notch, and then rotate it until it looks right. Do that 8 times, and you have yourself the outside of the circle of the platform. So now it's just a matter of filling it in, and I try to do it in a way that keeps the pattern going. You could just slap a large platform in there probably and cover it up, but it's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna look as good. The lines won't look right. So use more small pieces, and at this point I'm actually going to delete those inner 4 because it makes it easier to see, to line these pieces up. So I'm removing the first 4 small pieces that I placed, and you'll see I line it up with that other small piece and then move it 1 in and then rotate it so it's centered with that medium piece that's at the same angle. And do this again for all of them. Line it up, move it 1 over, rotate it, and do that 6 more times. You want to be really careful when using these pieces. You can you want to keep reselecting the piece before you move it. Reselect the piece, because it's real easy to accidentally select the wrong piece and you don't even know it, because there's no way to tell. I think there's quite a lot of work that could be done with the cosmetics, mechanics, and tools, but I don't think they're probably putting much of a priority on it. So you just got to deal with what it is. Okay, so here for these corners, it's not showing exactly where my mouse cursor is. It shows like the bottom right corner because the recording software, I guess. But I'm putting it right in the corner and then rotating it. And you'll see that is a nice looking radially symmetric platform. And for the middle, you can do all sorts of things. That's one option. You can use those stones. You could use like a volcano sticking up out of the middle, which I did once, which is fun. But the next thing is going to be, if you don't have any jump pads, or if you just want to do this because you think it looks better or whatever reason, you can build a ramp And this doesn't require putting a hole in the middle of the platform, which might also be a thing that appeals to you. So I take some bricks, and you just need 2. You stack them on top of each other. That's 2 bricks tall. Then you grab the bottom one and stack it on top of that second one again. That's 3 bricks tall, and 4. So 4 bricks tall plus 2 stone slab thingies thick. And then you take a large flooring panel, you put it in there like so. This might just take a little messing with it if you don't get it right the first time, but it lines up pretty nicely with the platform. And you just need 1 more. I wasn't able to get the bottom piece to line up as nicely as that one, but whatever, it winds up being fine. At least it's functional. You can walk up and down it without any hitches. So it is going to be, let's see, I forget, I think it's 1 brick and 2 slabs. And then you just want to make sure it's aligned left to right there. And I think I get the alignment off here. Yeah, it needs to be 1 up, 1 closer, 1, whatever you call it, bump. I don't remember what they call those. 1 closer. So I move that slab and rotate. There we go. See, it doesn't like visually line up perfectly, but it works just fine. So that's one option. You could also use like the medium platforms or the medium flooring pieces for the ramp if you want it to be skinnier. So at this point, we can remove the platform for our platform, scaffolding platform thing. And that'll make it look real nice. So there you go. There's the platform. And then, of course, I prefer to do it with the jump pad in the middle and the hole in the middle. I just think it's cooler, and it's a little more, you can access it from anywhere. So you just remove the middle pieces and pop a jump pad down in the center. And whenever you want to get up there, you just run toward it from any direction, and it'll pop you right up. So that's the platform. All right, next, for the garden, for aligning the garden wedges or segments or whatever you want to call them. To be honest, the first time I did it, I just eyeballed it. I just started putting them down, and I kept moving things. I kept troweling things around until they looked okay. But I figured, why not make some sort of a method? So what I did is, my goal is to divide it into 6 segments per side. So 12 total wedge segments for the garden. What I do is I start out by using fences. These aren't going to stay here. It's literally just for measuring. I actually would like to use the fences but I couldn't get them to look right with the circle and everything. I was never satisfied with it. So I do use them for lining up the circle and determining the outer edge of the circle. That's pretty much the main reason. So it actually looks like a circle instead of some wonky, weird shape. So we just line them up and kind of eyeball that it's below the lip of that platform on the end. And rotate it till it looks like that. And we're going to do that, I think, 8 times. And again, the reason for this is just so we can mark the outer perimeter of the garden, of the circle. And you can eyeball it, of course, but I think this really does make it look a lot nicer. It just is a crisp kind of clean look, as long as you stay within the borders, of course. The plants are not exactly perfect, so you gotta mess with it a little bit to make it look right, but I think it looks real nice. And if you're wondering, the only reason I have that tranquil bloom up is because I really liked the height, and I just liked it, so there's no reason for it to be in the garden, to be honest. I just didn't want to reclaim it. And yeah, I did plant too many coconuts on accident. You see a bunch of them in the corner. You probably only need like one tree, to be honest. But whatever, I left them. So I use these little single dot things a lot, and just to mark things. But I'm gonna put them at the end of all the fences, and also you'll see kind of right along the path. So I'm totally eyeballing this to start with. I'm accepting that I'm going to have to be moving them around until it looks right. I wish I had a better option, but if you're dividing it into 6, it just doesn't. I couldn't think of a way to do it that made it really clean. So it does wind up looking clean. You just have to be really careful and use your best judgment. And if you don't trust your judgment, you can always pause the video if you like the way this looks and kind of go bump by bump. Just follow exactly where I put these. And again, it's probably going to look okay even if you don't do this part. But for those of you who want to do it like this and want like a method, this might be helpful, I guess. There we go. So that's 1/4 of it. It's as cleanly as I could divide it into 3. And we just do that with the rest. For the most part, I just kind of go off of what I already did there. I try to make it the same. Yeah, I really like this radial design. The nice thing is that you can see everything and pretty much access everything. Having the center open is something like pretty much in any video game where there's a base like this where you have to make. I try to do that. It's like a kitchen or a workshop, you know. The center is always open and all the stuff you need is going to be around the outside. And that's why I do this. So there we go. All those guide markers are in place. So when it comes to planting the garden, first thing I do, I just temporarily remove the jump pad in the center. And I'm going to I put down one of these lanterns, but you can put down whatever you want as like a pillar or something. This is just to use as a visual reference, because what I do is I get a low point of view and I line up those markers with the lantern, and you'll see here I'm picking some seeds. I try to put the smallest stuff up front, of course, so when you're looking at from the front you can see everything. So I think I start with strawberries here, and I just make a line, kind of. I try to stay just to the inside of that line that's formed between those 2 points. And it's gonna go speedy through the rest of it because I'm pretty sure you get the idea, but I did want to show me actually doing it just in case it helps. And what do I have next? Oh, blueberries. Yeah, these are always a pain. Really what I should have done is planted a bunch like off to the side and then moved them one at a time, troweled them in there. Because of course when they grow they're all sorts of sizes and shapes. And I wind up shoveling a bunch anyway and moving them around until they look halfway decent. Again, not perfect, and it's just like your own tolerance as far as how good you want to make it look. Yeah, then we have pineapples. I'm getting a little low on those. I do not like those big pineapples, so you see one I got there, pretty big one. I reclaimed it. I'm almost out of reclaimers because of this little project. I had to redo the entire garden just because I was excited about doing this video. Yeah, there's the tomatoes. And I got a big tomato there I shoveled. I get the big stuff whenever I don't need it. It seems like it's going to be a hassle to have. So, oh well. It's just tomatoes and pineapples. And there's a gigantic corn. You'll see it's starting to grow there. I'm just going to leave it for now, though. Corn takes a little longer to grow, so I'm not going to bother using my watering cans, which I'm also low on. And then there's some peppers. They're a little bit of a tangled mess, but whatever. Apples, of course. I get a giant one. Some of you are going to cringe to see me shovel that, but they're actually pretty easy to get. And I think they don't really look that cool. Anyway, sugar apples are going to be next. Then bananas. Then bamboo. I made the mistake of doing the perimeter of the bamboo first, which makes it real hard to do the inside. I should have gone row by row. Anyway, I just trowel it around a bit. Fill it in as I can. Doesn't really matter if it's as clean because it's kind of obscured by those big banana trees anyway. And then I just moved the coconuts over. And to be honest, if I could redo this, which I could, but I don't think I'd put big trees in the circle. Maybe I'd like move the circle a little bit forward and leave a little more room in the back and put some trees back there. I think that the circle looks a lot better with small crops. Anyway, there you go, and this is my final product with the bone blossoms and the mushrooms. Anyway, I hope it helped. I hope you liked it, and thanks for watching.